Hi again then guys, and welcome to a slightly different kind of tune setup for Gran Turismo Sport, and this one has actually been requested far more times than I expected it would be. It's my personal tune setup that I use to earn the vast majority of my money on the game. Because of course I use the oval racing method. In the video I used the McLaren in the N500 class, but then I know a few people already like to use the Porsche. I mentioned the Porsche in that video as well, so I decided to try it out myself, and I do prefer the Porsche. You get a little bit of extra cash, plus it's cool to get the mileage up on the 911. But of course the cash is the main thing. Now, of course, the KTM Crossbow can earn even more, but personally, I just don't like the car, and for the sake of an extra 30 grand, I'd rather drive the Porsche. Now, the KTM will get you more money, for sure, but I just personally prefer to use this one, and you can still easily earn around 1 million, well, it's actually over 1 million credits in a half hour. So, it's pretty easy money. So the tune setup that I use, you don't necessarily need to fully upgrade the car. I would recommend though dropping the weight as much as you can, because that always helps through corners. And as far as the power, I don't think you actually need to upgrade that at all. You just need to drop it down to get it into N400, and then of course at the highest end of N400. Traction control you definitely want turned off. I've gone for racing super softs for obvious reasons, maximum grip. You're going up against the AI, so you could choose if you want that or not. I know that sometimes people like to have different tyres on the front to the back compared to oval, or for oval racing. That's all down to you, of course, and this is just my personal tune. As far as the suspension, we've got the ride height on 100mm and 135, which sounds like a massive difference, but it's not really. As far as the frequency, we've got that on 2.3, the anti-roll on 7, compression on the dampers on 57 with 86 on the rebound, neutral camber and neutral toe. You can't adjust the downforce, of course. As far as the diff, I've got a pretty harsh setup by some people's standards. Very high initial torque, in fact as high as possible, then as low as possible for sensitivity on acceleration and braking. And of course, you could change that if you want to, but this is, again, just the method that I like to use. And as far as the gearbox, of course, although it is an oval track, it's not really a top-speed tune. You want it to get through the gears and use them efficiently, not try and get up around 250 miles per hour, because of course that's just not going to happen. So to use all of those gears, we've got an auto setting of 199, and I believe I've actually just left all the gears standard, because it's almost irrelevant. The car's performance will take care of itself, because the way that you win the race, just like with the Crossbow, is not based on straight line speed, it's based on cornering. And speaking of that cornering, this tune is kind of a two-part thing, because you have the tuning side, which is this, and now we'll take it out on the track for my recommendations of how to use this tune. Now, I have had some people comment about not being able to win in the Porsche 911 GT3, specifically in N400. They find it too difficult to catch up to, say, the top 2 or the top 3 cars, even though you do have about 15 laps to do so. Now, when I run this race, as you'll see in this replay, I can get into the lead by around lap 9 or 10. Of course, in the KTM, you're going to look at a little bit later than that because it's slightly slower, and with the McLaren, a bit earlier because it's a higher class and it's faster, of course. But the way that I'd recommend using this car is to actually use your brakes a little bit, but only on the first and last corner. Because the second corner, if you can even call it a corner, I guess, it's more of just a long swooping curve. So you can just take that one easily, just go full throttle. But the last corner, you do need to brake quite a bit. And then of course the really sharp corner, the first one, the first left, well, they're all lefts, but you know what I mean. The first corner, brake a little bit before the corner, then let the car coast into the corner and don't give it throttle until you're out of the corner, because otherwise the car will pull out to the outside. Now, with this tune that I'm using, it handles like a dream. You can throw the car around corners if necessary, although I wouldn't recommend it, of course, because there's no point in spinning out for the sake of it. But the main thing as well that you need to look out for is not really your own driving. That'll take care of itself as long as you go steady. What you need to watch out for is the other cars, because they will often swerve out in front of you. Again, as I said in that money video, they will often get in your way, and that's another reason why I don't like driving the Crossbow, because they drive like absolute morons, almost trying to smash into you. So as long as you take it steady with the car, give it a little bit of braking, let it coast through the corner, and then give it power out of it, You'll be surprised by how quickly this car can actually catch up to those leading cars. I consistently win by like 7 to 10 seconds even over the LaFerrari, and I'm sure other people could go even quicker than I do, because for one thing, I use an automatic gearbox, so you could definitely go even quicker. But overall, I hope for those of you who were requesting this tune, you can have a lot of fun with it. You can, of course, earn a ton of cash with it, and stick around on the channel, of course, for more tips, money earning and otherwise, and more tunes like this one. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.